Have you ever looked at an innovation and thought, that is so clever, why hasn't anyone thought of that before? That is what this series is all about. People and companies from all around Australia who are changing the game. Design and innovation is about problem solving. That problem might be small or it might be of global consequence. But all good design on this series is about making our daily lives and our futures just a little brighter. Welcome to Australia by Design Innovations. We've gathered a group of Australian and international design industry leaders via Zoom, tasked with the job of judging each innovation and selecting our finalists, before ultimately crowning one design project the winning innovation of the series.
Innovation in Australia has never been stronger, but compared to the opportunity out there, we need a lot more of it.
This is a show about innovation, but it's also a show about design. It's design's role that makes these great ideas and turns them into the innovations that you see on the show.
It's going to be an interesting competition. I'm interested in seeing how everything evolves between the judges.
Let's get started with our first innovation.
Being from the country, I reckon that there's nothing more iconic than Australian corrugated iron. And who would have thought you could revolutionise that?
Until I saw them bending it up without any damage at all, I couldn't believe it. I wish I had a thought of it.
Who's your favourite superhero? Mine was always this guy, faster than the speeding bullet, able to bend steel in his bare hands. Well, this next innovation does exactly that, and it's revolutionising the design and construction industry. Well, Matthias and Matt are the men of steel. Boys, first of all, why do we need to do this?
Well, before this, if you wanted to create a connection between the bits of the roof or the bits of the wall, you needed to put two flat sheets and a cover over the top. And now you can do it in one piece. It means no gaps, it's a structural join, and it has all sorts of functional benefits, and it looks great.
How, first of all, does someone come up with solving this problem?
Well, technically steel is a really strong material and doesn't want to go in that shape. But if you design the geometry right, like with this piece of paper here, then you can easily fold material where it wants to go and not where it has to go.
So you had a brainstorm when you picked up a packet of chips?
Yes.
So the next step was to look at something useful for steel.
So that's like a piece of cardboard?
Not just any piece of cardboard. When you form it like this, you can see it's the basis of the corrugated sheet, and now we've got the basis of our bend, and it just shows that if you get the geometry right, you can form a complex bend like that without stretching or crushing the material.
The eureka moment when you saw this could actually be done, what was that like?
We basically put in the tool, we had 10 engineers standing there, all of them said it couldn't be done, and then it came out perfect.
How did that make you feel when you proved them all wrong that it could be done?
We were very proud and very excited about the future opportunities.
We've managed to form all sorts of different steel grades with different coatings. We've formed aluminium. This paved the way for a real structural solution. So what you can see here is a structural panel with two corrugated sheets and a spacer made using our unique bend, and this forms an incredibly stiff structure which potentially can be the basis for a completely new building system.
So it's fully self-supporting and structural?
Absolutely.
All right, I'll give it a try. Here's right. So, Matt, you can dream up the concept, prove that it's possible, but to take it to the world, you need a partner.
Absolutely. So we didn't want to set ourselves up as a producer and try and replicate what we were doing all over the place. We looked at teaming up with the best, and so we approached Bluescope, and they were really interested in what we were doing.
So, Emily, we've heard from the scientists, the engineers, but from a design perspective, this is incredible.
It is, and Lysaght are absolutely over the moon to have this as part of our product suite now. So it's taken many years to formulate and create and innovate to the point that it is now, and we absolutely love it at Lysaght. It's our bread and butter, and this has actually taken it to new heights where we can see it created into beautiful architecture across Australian cities and in the country as well.
How lucky are we to have like these mad boffin engineers improving something which we thought was already brilliant.
Absolutely. It's great that they're local, it's great that it's Australian owned and produced, and we just wouldn't be where we are today without those innovators, without that creative thinking.
What an incredible improvement to one of Australia's most iconic building products, the FORMFLOW bend, a super sensation steel innovation. For an architect, this would be like unwrapping a Christmas present. How sexy is this new profile?
It 100% is sexy, and that's what we love. We want it to be sexy, and who thought steel could be?
We've gathered a group of design industry leaders via Zoom to judge and select the best design innovations from around Australia. Which innovations will make it through to the best of the best final later in the series?
Some of the projects that I was a little bit on the edge on, like they just really surprised me and I just ended up loving them.
I've been involved in this TV show for 4 years and I don't think I've ever seen such a diverse level of entries.
I think we're up for something interesting here.
Contoured beds have complex mechanisms. Here we have a very simple mechanism built into the mattress.
What I like about the business is they're not waiting for customers to come to them, they are going to customers. And innovating in your business is just as important as innovating in your product.
The benefit of a good night's sleep reach way beyond the bedroom. Circulation, concentration, your mood. A good night's sleep can really make you a better you. But sometimes we don't even know if we're having a good night's sleep or not. So Jay, I think I'm a pretty good sleeper.
How do you sleep, side, back or tummy?
Side and a little bit on tummy.
90% of people sleep on their side. Problem with that is when we lie on our side, what we do is we put pressure on our shoulders, our hips and our knees. So what we like to do is we like to talk about positional therapy.
Can I have a try?
Try.
Okay. Oh.
So what we're doing right now is we're raising the back up, lifting the feet up. What that does is it takes the pressure off your spine, your hips and your knees. Can you feel any pressure on your lower part of your back?
No.
But wait, there is more.
Steak knives?
No, not steak knives. Massage, therapeutic massage.
Wow.
About 16 and a half years ago, I damaged my spine. L4, L5 and S1. And it was my specialist who actually got me into adjustability.
So this looks like a normal base.
That's correct. So what it does is it can basically sit on anything. Slat base, ensemble, any sort of base.
Right.
And obviously, all the adjustability.
Ah, it's all in there.
Basically, when this is flat, it looks like just a normal mattress, just sitting on top of the base.
I love it. So Mackenzie, you have one of these beds.
I do have one of these beds.
What does it do for you?
Well, it definitely helps me sleep better. I was born with cerebral palsy, spasticity diaplegia, and it's where my muscles are really, really tight. I've had to have 42 surgeries and procedures, and the bed just really, really helps relax my muscles. So I would normally sleep like this, and it rises, and which is really cool.
I would not expect this from this one.
No, it's a fancy bed. And I normally put a little massage.
Yes.
And I normally sleep like this, and it really, really helps, especially with my insomnia and chronic fatigue.
So it's a real game change for you then?
It is.
So this COVID thing was quite an interesting one for you?
Interesting is one word for it, yes. From the second week of March, basically it was pretty much stop. Up until that point we were doing 220 shows a year. So what we did is we came up with the mobile showrooms so we could actually go out to people and actually sit there and explain to them about positional therapy. We had 72 staff.
And what happened to the staff?
They're still working for us, plus we put on an extra 14 staff members as well.
Well, that's really impressive. And a little birdie told me that you took out some awards?
We have indeed. Good Design Awards, Gold Coast Business Awards, and also Product of the Year, which is recognised in 43 countries around the world.
As a designer, I'm not really sure what I'm most impressed about. The product itself or the remarkable pivot that happened in Jay's business. To innovate and invest in innovation when the market is stalling takes guts. And this guy, he has plenty.
The next innovation is AIRWAVE-INFLATABLE surf reef. As a hydrodynamics engineer, I know how hard it is to build things in the ocean, and this team's bravery needs to be admired.
Australians love the beach and many love to surf, but the surf can sometimes be a little inconsistent. This next innovation may be the solution that every surfer is searching for. So Troy, we're at your family home in Bunbury. This is where it all began. What was your light bulb moment?
Well, Susie, I was in the bath and there was a light fitting above the bath, very similar to the one we've got in front of us now.
Right, this one?
Yeah. And I just took it down, started pushing some waves at the light fitting. It made something happen, and the rest is kind of history, really.
So this lampshade, I mean, these are in pretty much everyone's bathrooms.
They are.
So can you use this and explain to me how the wave goes over it?
Of course. So if you consider that this is the back, this is the deep ocean.
This is the ocean.
And this is the beach.
Yes.
What happens is when a wave approaches it, this is slightly higher at the back and smoothed off at the front.
In the airwave?
Yes.
Yep.
And then when the wave hits it, it rises up above here and then tapers off in both directions.
And so it sort of curls up?
Yep. There's a little curl thing happens here, and then it kind of peels away both directions to the beach. We went through prototype stages, smaller prototypes made out of plaster that I sculpted, and then we put the prototypes into a test pond that we dug on our property in Yellingup, and then we went from there and we thought we'll just go full ocean test.
And you had some investors for that?
We had some investors for the full ocean test, from Bunbury, and the Bunbury City Council contributed money too, which was fantastic.
When Troy brought it to us, we just thought it was such a fantastic idea. Bunbury has got such amazing beaches and a big, strong surf community, but not a really reliable surf break. So this innovation to potentially have a world first and a world-class surf break on our local beach is an amazing opportunity.
Susie, here's something I've made earlier.
Fantastic. Obviously the airwave is not made of sand. What is it made of?
Well, it's made out of a sand slurry and air contained by rubber.
Does it affect the sand bed?
No, it's designed to sit on the sand bed rather inertly and just affect the wave action and subtly affect the sand environment.
Right.
The actual prototype's 12 metres round in diameter. So how about we measure out exactly what the size is on the sand now?
Fantastic.
The original one was 1.6 at the highest point.
So taller than me?
Slightly taller than you, Susie, but not too much taller. So it's a pretty exciting time for the airwaves. We've actually been published in 12 languages in about 300 publications online and in print. We've actually started receiving orders for airwaves, and we haven't even put the second prototype in. So it's a very exciting time.
The airwave has the potential to create waves around the globe. All Troy needs are investors. Watch this space.
We're on the lookout for the #1 design innovation for this Australian series. We've gathered a group of design industry leaders to judge some of the best design innovations from around Australia. Which innovations will make it through to the best of the best final later in the series? Time for our next design innovation.
This project really had our judges quite divided. There were some that thought playgrounds should just be playgrounds. I kind of disagree. Technology is all around us. Rather than try and hide it, these guys have thought about how to integrate it into a play environment.
We hear a lot about smart technologies these days, smart watches, smartphones, smart TVs, but what about smart playgrounds?
These are a sample of our Play9 Smart range, which are a range of these beautiful, interactive and fun products that go in commercial play spaces all around the world.
Like shopping centres and airports?
Absolutely, also hospitals and museums.
And they look so interactive.
And that's our sweet spot, where we bring together the right mix of physical and digital play for kids. So this is our slide, or better known as whoosh. So a perfect example here of physical and digital coming together to really create a multi-sensory experience.
Wow, look how it lights up.
Everything we do is pre-built with touch and also gesture, so you can stand back and not touch a thing.
We take it from the concept and we take it all the way through to production and what you've seen on the floor downstairs. The young kids are so ahead with the technology, and their demand for the latest and greatest has really pushed us. How can we push the boundaries? How can we make it better?
So basically everything in the Play9 Smart range is all connected and controlled by one central point.
All from this tablet?
Yes, which means I can change the game, for instance, on this unit just with a flick of a button. Or take the bear, for example. We can change the language the bear speaks.
Can it speak Spanish?
It can. Here you go.
¿Has encontrado mi nariz?
I have no idea what it's saying, but it sounds beautiful.
It is super cute. So the Bear, like all of the products in the range, can be controlled from anywhere in the world.
Well, it just so happens that our executive producer, Mike, is at the other end of the country in one of your sites. How about we dial him in and see how it works in real life?
Great idea.
All right, Tanya, I want to put this to the test. We've got Oliver here and Christopher. They want to go to a different game.
Can we do dinosaurs?
Dinosaurs, Tanya? Can we do dinosaurs, was the question?
We do have dinosaurs.
Of course, you're changing this at the moment, but the idea is that you could be centre management.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we have clients in so many different areas, and sometimes, head office is not where the local sort of team are. So we can change content from wherever you are. You can be as organised as you want and change it a year ahead, have your full schedule, or you could change it, as I did, pretty instantaneously as well. One of the other really fantastic features is an analytics dashboard. What that is completely anonymous. It's purely based on what's the most popular game, when the most popular game was, and then the team can go ahead and schedule their marketing plan and their games accordingly.
Well, you know what? I think I should have a go at this. I don't think the kids should have all the fun.
So often in design, the focus is either on the physical or on the digital. The Play9 Smart range brings these together seamlessly. And what's more, it brings a smile to the kids' faces.
In this series, we've introduced the Planet Innovation Bright Award. Sam Lanyon will select an innovator from the series for entry into the PI Bright program to assist them in building their commercial and technical strategies and connect them with the global partners. The winner of the Planet Innovation Bright Award will be announced later in the series.
The recipient of our award are really great innovators and entrepreneurs, and you can really tell when they do their job well and they come up with a really great, simple idea and they actually execute perfectly.
It's nearly time to announce which innovations from this episode will make it through to our best of the best final later in the series. But first, our next innovation.
When you're talking about cancer and oncology, you really need to know what you're talking about, but often you need another opinion. These guys have actually made that so much easier using today's technology.
This next innovation promises to save lives globally, all from a suburban home here in Perth.
I'm a pathologist, and myself and a colleague called Cleve McGree decided that we would try and work up a different way of sharing pathology information to make it easier to provide a diagnosis and help to other pathologists all around the world. We're using technologies that are commonly used, things that people use every day for social media and other applications.
So essentially, all the technology was already there right under your nose.
Very much so, literally hidden in broad daylight, as simple as the phone in your pocket, which is an astounding bit of equipment. And we just thought if we start with that technology and work outwards, we'd be able to invent a workflow that got the knowledge out around the world. So in pathology, we spend our day usually traditionally looking down the microscope, and we look at glass slides with a bit of tissue on, and based on the appearance, we decide whether we think it's cancer or not, or some other disease. And the problem is that a glass slide is very difficult to share with another pathologist. If they're in another city or another country, it's very slow and almost impractical.
So this is some blood sample?
That's actually solid tissue, a biopsy from someone, in this case a biopsy of a lymph node, and we, by looking down at the microscope or at a digital image of that, can usually make a diagnosis about what's going on. But in many cases we do need help from another pathologist, and the challenge has always been how do we share the images when they are confined to a glass slide. So our innovation was to convert the image that we will normally see down the glass slide to a digital image and then share that with pathologists in our network. So I've just simply bought this adapter, slip the phone in, the adapter goes down the microscope, one of the barrels of the oculars, and flip the camera around. There you are. You're looking at the same image that I would look at if I was looking down the microscope. And this is how Cleve and I began the whole concept. We've got a case actually here. This was a case from Afghanistan, which was breast cancer, and the pathologist at the other end was fairly sure, but wanted a little bit of reassurance that they were on the right track. There's no doubt that in our mind that that's the diagnosis, so we've returned that opinion, and that'll give the clinician some confidence that it's been reviewed and the original diagnosis was correct.
So the remarkable thing about this innovation is instead of that woman with breast cancer, potentially, waiting 3 months to get a diagnosis and her cancer has moved and grown, she's going to know instantly.
Hi, Dr. Furz. How's it going today?
Thank you, and I hope you are also fine. And this is the patient that I have already sent you the slides. He is a 65 years old patient that last year he had a small, I think, tumor inside his finger, and the doctors did amputation last year. Unfortunately, he says that he has another mass in the axillary area, so I think it has metastasized to the axillary area.
We can have a look at the slides if you like.
Looks like a carcinoma with neuroendocrine differentiation, and I think that's probably the best fit for the diagnosis, yeah.
There's a lot of pathologists still are very affectionate about their microscope. Personally, I'm happy if it sits back in the corner and collects dust. Look, I think the future is digital, and soon enough, most pathologists will be looking at digital images.
DLS Pathology's workflow innovation is already saving lives around the world, helping doctors that don't have enough pathology support. It's truly inspirational and is the future for this area of medicine.
And now, time to find out which innovations from this episode will go through to the best of the best final later in the series.
The FORMFLOW corrugated bend is going through to the final, and I'm very, very happy for the people. I really believe in it. I actually want to use it.
It is such a smart, simple, but revolutionary idea.
Well done, and good luck to them.
Congratulations to the FORMFLOW bend, and we wish them well in the final. Join us next time for more incredible designs on Australia by Design Innovations.
For more information on any of the innovations featured in this episode, go to australiabydesign.com.au.